Hi everyone, I've gone live a little bit early just to make sure that we can get on, because I know Phil was having a few problems earlier on. And there we are. I will straighten that up. And my lovely assistant will straighten that up. That's why we'll move around a bit. There are 3 people watching so far, me being one of them. Hello everyone. If you can type in hello so I know who's watching, that'd be lovely. And we've got our mat straight now, look, yay! There, he's good. That'll do him. How are we today? Hi Gaynor, how are you? So this is said blended mat, Gaynor. Da-da-da. It's a smoky white plastic, and that is actually a blending mat. If I can't get hold of this because Gavin's using it, I tend to use the back of my green mat, but it is better on you because it can't go into any cutting marks on your green one. Hi Tracy, how are you? Good afternoon, Donna. I know you say good morning, but I'll say good afternoon. So it's all about stamping and using rubber stamps, and I'm going to show you a few little cards as we go along, as I show you some different techniques as well. So this is one that I've had, it's another one, and then I've also got that one as well. Okay, so they're all a little bit different and they're all using slightly different stamps. Afternoon Carolyn. Hi Yvonne, how are you all? All keeping well, keeping out of the wind? Hi Annie, you keeping okay? So we are a little bit early at the moment, so well, I think, unless it's, no, it is 2 o'clock now. This is 1 minute past. So I hope you're all okay. So I am going to be using lots of rubber sort of stamps today, and so I can show you on this card there is heat embossing, but I've also used some pixie powders and 2 different colorings and stuff like that, but I've actually used just that stamp. So it's a little bit sketchy from Sheena and his Beautiful Destinations. All the rubber stamps that I'm showing you today, and numerous others, are on our half price sale, which is £2.50 for an A6 stamp. Okay, they are grey rubber, so that's what I'm going to show you first. So I'm going to do this one first because that's the messier one. I'm going to show you this one to the butterflies, and on this one I've actually used a few bits. I've used the don't call it a dream, call it a plan, and that's on that one.
Some are £3.
Oh, apparently some of them are £3 because obviously depending on the initial price. So basically they've gone to half price. So that's that one. So it's got don't call it a dream, call it a plan. Just because your path is different, it doesn't mean you're lost. So that's that, and I've just used this bottom one here, and I've actually cut that out. And then I've used this butterfly one, and then I've got a sentiment on there with, or I'm all of a flutter for you, and then obviously 4 butterflies. And this butterfly is actually hand cut out, and I've stamped it underneath as well. And I'll show you how to get this butterfly to match your back as well. Okay, So that's that one. That's going to be my second one, and then the third one I'm just going to show you this one. I've used 3 stamps on this one. I've actually used the full Spectrum Noir Colorista. It's a full background stamp, but I've used it as the main sort of topper. I've used this one here in the other Colorista, so it's Elements 3, that's Elements background 1, and I've also used the 2 sentiments from this, It's Your Birthday and Time to Party, which is party time stamp. So all these are in one category and they're all on the clicky link at the bottom. I think Gavin's going to put a link on there, or it should be there somewhere for you. Okay, so let's see who's on that I haven't said hello to first. So afternoon Dawn, afternoon Helen, and afternoon Janine. So let's get on with what we're going to do then. So the first one I'm going to do is this one. So to show you how to get this background, it's quite easy, but I'm also going to show you a few little techniques with your pixie powders as well. Okay, so I'll wait for this to come on my screen so I know you're seeing what I'm seeing. And I have pre-cut things, but I will give some sizes as well, okay? So there we are. So we've got the card, and inside we've got this one here. So I'm sure you can see the shimmer on them. So if I wiggle out of that. So that's done with a pixie powder. So this balloon has been done with pixie powder and embossing powder. And this one's been done with pixie powders and a stamp and actually spritzed, so you get sort of more of a sort of not so smooth. Okay, and what we need to use for that, afternoon Mum, how are you? Mum said thank you for Auntie Sandra's card as well, Mum, so thank you very much. It did arrive. Hope you're all well, so let's get going. So first thing I want to show you is a few little techniques. I'm just going to take a piece of my, this is 250 Super Smooth, you can use 300, you can use any card that's got sort of a nice feel to it. Okay, I'm just going to show you a couple of little techniques with the pixie powders. So you need Versamark, nice soft sort of makeup brush that's not too dense, just really soft, so it could be any sort of soft brush, and some pixie powders. So I use blue on that one, so I'm actually going to use the pink on this next one and just change it up a little bit. Okay, just so it looks a bit different to the card. Right, so first thing we need to do is sort out how we're going to mount our stamp. So with a rubber stamp, unless it's got a cushion on the back, which is usually a mount cushion, which it's got a cling side on one side, which you cling to your block like that, or you can put it into your press to impress, and you can just, and then it's usually very sticky on the other side, and you stick your stamps to it and then you cut them around. Okay, so that's normally what you do, but I've found another way of doing it. So I take your mounting cushion, you leave the cling side as your cling side, and then you take some transfer tape, and on the very sticky side of your mount cushion you put your transfer tape sticky side upwards, so the non-sticky side goes to the very sticky side that you usually put your stamp to, and then that then becomes a sticky area, which means I can do this. I can get an acrylic block, I can stick that to it via the cling side, and I can put my stamp on the sticky side of the cling. Okay, and that is that. Okay, if you haven't got that, you can also use Crafter's Companion temporary spray adhesive, and you can spray the back of your stamp and use it that way. Or if you're really pushed and can't do it, or can't find a way of doing it, you can also just take your double-sided tape on an old acrylic block, put 2 little pieces along there and stick your stamp onto it like that, and then that will hold it temporary for you, and then you just peel it off gently and you can do that. And that's what I'm going to just do for this today, because then I can see exactly where I've stamped, where I've cut it out, and where I'm going to use that stamp. So I'm going to take my Versamark and I'm going to open my pixie powder ready. Okay, and I'm going to ink up my stamp with the Versamark. So this could be perfect medium, it could be any clear stamp, clear ink for embossing powders. How are you positioning your camera? Like, where is it and how is it staying in place? I think Gavin is just taking a photo of it now, Rachel, and we'll actually send it to you. Okay. Good afternoon, Sarah. So I've just inked it up with Versamark. I'm just going to pop it down, put a bit of pressure. Because it's a rubber stamp, it's good to just put that extra little bit of pressure. And my image is actually there. So this is Versamark or perfect medium, or I'm just going to tap out a little bit of powder. You can do this with your mica powders, anything that's got a mica and very, very fine. Hi Angela, how are you? And then I'm just going to take this nice soft brush, I'm just dabbing it across and I'm just rubbing it, and then you get a, I don't know if you can see that, let's put a bit more powder on the top there because it hasn't taken, and you literally just tap it on and you get your colour. So it looks green, but once you hold it into the light you get a pink haze through it. So it's a nice way of getting a lovely background. That's fine, Rachel. Cosmic Shimmer powders. You can use, don't know, can I use Cosmic Shimmer powders? You can use Cosmic Shimmer mica powders, pixie powders, as long as they're a very, very fine mica powder, then it will pick it up. Okay. I would also say if you've got makeup, powder makeup, you can actually do that as well. So if there's a certain colour blusher or something like that, you can actually put that down, but remember it might take to your card. You'd have to try that and not just take to the Versamark. Okay, but to fix that normally we either got to use a gloss sealer, because if you use a matte you're going to lose your sheen from that, and I would take that to give it a good shake and then just take it outside and give it a good quick spray. So just a quick spray would fix that. Or to fix any of your pixie powders or mica powders, hi Alison, you can take the fine misters. So I've got 2 types of spray bottles. I've got the big one which does bigger amounts of water, and then I've got the finer one which takes it does a really, really fine mist, and these come in a pack of 4. And that's all you do. Make sure it's misting nice and gently, and then you just mist that and that fixes it. So when it dries that'll be completely fixed, and it also brings out a little bit more of the colour, to be honest with you, because the pixie powders react with water. So I can actually dry that. I don't know if you can see that, then I'll show you now. It should be nice and pink. Just going to try the rest of the card. So that is one thing you can do with your Pixie Powders and Versamark. So you just stamp with your Versamark and you add your Pixie Powders into it. So you brush your Pixie Powders on just like your mica. So it's an old technique that you used to be able to do with mica powders. I'm just showing that you can do that with Pixie Powders as well. So that'd be a nice gentle background for all sorts of nice gentle backgrounds. If you want to do a vintage sort of card, you can get your vintage sort of colours in there. Okay, and I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm going to wiggle it that way, and then I'm going to wiggle it that way as well, just it will catch it then at some point. Okay, so that's that. Now the other way of doing it is taking a clear embossing powder, a white embossing powder, or any other embossing powders really. What's that one? Embossing white pearl. Yeah, true white. So I can take a true white, you can take a silver, you can take gold, you can take any colour you want of your embossing powder. You can do exactly the same. Stamp up with your Versamark, and I'm just showing a few techniques to use with stamps, and then I'm going to do that quick card then just to show you, and then I'll do the different techniques then and show you each card as we go through. Okay, so I'm now going to stamp that there, just putting lots of pressure because it's a rubber stamp without foam on the back. And I'm going to take my true white. My true white embossing powder. You can use detail clear. You can, even if you've got a sticky ink, you could probably use that as well. But with sticky ink, you have got to be a little bit quicker. And I didn't actually use any anti-static, but if you are doing this on a piece of card that you want to look right, do anti-static it first, but because I'm just showing you how these techniques work, I'm going to show you that. So then I'm going to take my embossing powder is now done with. Okay, I've got my Pixie powder ready as well, and then I'm going to heat up my powder. And don't hold your mat down, don't hold this on the mat because it will buckle and bend your mat. I'm just heating that up until it turns glossy. I love embossing powder. Bonjour Peter, how are you? So all I'm doing is just going to heat this up, and you do need to heat it. I could have done this earlier, but I would have had to have reheated it again, so there was no point. I would have then burnt my powder and I wouldn't have had anything there. Just hitting there. And don't forget, you can overheat your powder. Okay, and it will burn, or you'll either burn your card, or what you can do. So I'm putting Pixie powder on there. This could be mica powder as well. I'm just rubbing that then over that. So literally, I'm using the powder and my brush just to cool that down a little bit. And then what you get a pink haze over the white embossing powder. So if you used a gold or silver, you'd get that pink haze over the gold or silver, and then you would have to seal it as well. Okay, so again, either with water or with a gloss spray, and you'll see the colour coming out of that now. So that will actually fix that then to, you can see it is a bit different now. So you do have to be careful when you're heating it the second time. obviously you don't want to burn your embossing powder. Just going to dry that quickly. And you do get sort of like a shimmer when you heat it, when you spritz it off the embossing powder, because it actually resists off the embossing powder a bit. So you can see the two of them are completely different. One is more shiny and more raised, and the other one is actually more flat to the card, but it holds on to the colour lovely. Okay, so it's not showing up very well on the picture, so probably when you're at home you'll see that a lot better. Please try that technique, because it's a very good technique, to be honest with you. You can just sort of see the shimmer on it. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so when I was doing them, I ended up with a piece with powder around on my mat. Okay, and if you push your brush like that, you get some of that as well. And that's all I kept doing. Every time I did a different colour, split your mat. I don't know if you can see the little spots of colour. And that's all I did to do the background, was just pick up different bits of that. Okay, and I'm just going to get a nice gentle background on it, which I don't mind. Don't mind a gentle background. So if I can heat that up and then go again. Gavin probably understands some of the stuff you're saying on there, Peter, but I don't, unfortunately. I'm not, even though I was very good at French in the first and second year in school, I never actually took it again. The disappointment to my actual French teacher, because he actually did want me to take it again in the further years, so, but I didn't, so there we are. So I've now got a nice little pixie powder background, and it's in the pinks, and I'm actually going to use that for my card. Okay, so now obviously I got tea towel. So the other tea towel Gavin was using is just been washed, so I'll be back in my drawer ready to use next time. These are very cheap tea towels, and they're not very good for drying dishes, but they're fabulous for cleaning your craft stuff. Okay. No, Annie speaks a bit of it as well. Woohoo. Okay, so that was the three little things I did, and obviously they look a bit different with the pinks, so the blue's probably better colour to use, but I've used the pinks because I wanted the pink background, because I'm going a different colourway with it this time. Okay, so we've now going to change this piece into this. So I need to get my Press to Impress. Okay, so Press to Impress are back in stock with us if somebody is interested. To open that up, let's move these down a bit. Right, and because I'm using a rubber stamp, I'm actually removing the black sponge from there. I'm actually going to place that there and hold that down in the corner. And then the little sponge that I said about, that I made from that, with some transfer tape for the sticky side and the Nashi Kling side. This is the mounting foam for normal mounting your rubber stamps. I'm going to place that on there so it's within the square frame, and that's Kling side down, transfer tape face up. Okay, and I'm going to take my sentiment that I'm going to use. So this sentiment actually comes with the balloon. Okay, So you get the balloon and the sentiment, and it says difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations, which is true. If you've ever been on Mardy Mountain, difficult road from Aberdeen, but perfect, lovely scene across the back, so it is lovely. And I'm going to pick that stamp up, and I've got my stamp there. So now, because I've used pinks, I'm actually going to use some pinks in my thing as well. So I'm actually going to use the fuchsia and the crushed velvet. Okay, so this is how you multiple colour stamp. I'm going to do the light pink through the middle, and always start with your light colour. Okay, this is a very light colour, so it'll probably have to be stamped a good few times. I'm going to stamp that, and yes, it'll only pick up the middle bit, but I want to do that again. And because this is on the Press to Impress, I can go as many times as I want, and it'll just stamp that in the middle. And now that's nice, that's a nice colour. Okay, so then I'm going to take my crushed velvet, and these are the opaque pigments. I'm just going to go down that side and that side. And yes, I'm getting it on my Press to Impress there. It's water was proof, so that'll just come off. And then we get a difference of colour there. And if I really wanted to make it pop a bit, I could take the damson wine, tap a little bit on the corner there, tap a little bit on the corner there. And then that'll make that stand out a lot more. Okay. It's good doing this in the bathroom because I'm at hand to everything. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do to clean that. Spritz it with water. Use my tea towel. Or if I wanted to, I could take my colouring, my stamp cleaning mat board, spritz the bottom bit, so the thicker bit, with water, put my stamp on it, and then rub it on the other side to clean it. And I could mount this onto a great block to actually clean that, but it does clean it up nicely. Even though I do need to clean my stamp cleaning mat as well. There you go. Okay, so I've now got my beautiful destination there. Yeah, opaque pink pens at Gavin's favourite ink pads at the moment. He's looking to invest in getting the full amount, I think. 37 colours, although there's 2 blacks in that, so you might only want one of them. He's already got one, so difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations, so that's that bit. And then I'm actually going to add a little mountainy sort of thing into it as well. And who's to say mountains need to be green? Because I want my balloon to float over something. I'll leave that in there for now. It'll probably stick to my mirror, my magnet, but I don't care. So I'm now going to put in a few little mountains there, and I think I'm actually going to put them in crushed velvet just so it matches everything, to keep it to the same colour. I'm going to use a smoothie, so you can use other tools. It's a bit wet. This is my smoothie. I'm just going to brush down like that. And there's my little mountain. So this is why I'm using my mat here at the moment. And then I'm going to ink down like that. It'll give me a couple of mountains there. Okay, and this is just so my balloon can float off into there. Because the balloon I did earlier with the embossing powder, I'm actually going to take my brush, add a bit of this crushed velvet and a little bit of water. I'm actually going to colour the balloon. Basket. I'll go in a second time then just to give it a little bit of shadow on the one side. Okay, so I've now got a balloon that's got embossing and stuff like that around it. I can even give that a bit of a wipe and that'll resist the color, any of the colours that's over the balloon. Okay, so that's my little balloon now to go over my little mountain. And we need to clean our mat. So to clean your mat, it's very easy. Just take some water, spritz it, give it a wipe, and I'm just going to rub my brush on the wet mat as well. And that's that. And that's soaking, so that's what I mean by your tea towels are not very good at wiping your dishes very well. Just buy a load of them, the cheapest chips, and then that, just keep rubbing it and it'll come dry eventually. So I've now got this piece, I've got my balloon which I will cut out in a minute, or I shall ask my lovely assistant to come and cut it out for me, because he's very good like that. Alright, you need them all. Gavin says he needs them all, so all the opaque ink pads. So yeah, would you like that one or the smaller one? I'm offering him scissors, isn't it? So I've got little
scan and cut or
tweezer ones. Yeah, you can, well, they might not pick it up because they're light.
what am I cutting out? Just
The balloon itself, the balloon and the basket. Yeah. So just like that one, but I like it. Alright. Right, so Gavin's going to cut out my balloon for me. And this is the actual card. So this is A5, R4A4. And the size of this panel is 10.5 wide, 10.5 centimeters, because I always use centimeters, 10.5 wide and 15 tall. And then I've also cut a piece of silver matte mirror card, and I've cut that to 15.5 by 11 centimeters, so 11 by 15.5, and that just gives me a nice little border around the edge. Okay, but I need to do this bit now. So what I need now is to bring in, and I'm using it on my blending mat again, so this is why the blending mat is so important. And we've got the A3 blending mats back in, so they will be on the website now as well. So what I need now, I need my crushed velvet. I've used the fuchsia, and I've also used the damson wine on my background. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing now to produce the frame part around here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use the two dark ones for stamping the balloon around the outer edge. So again, this is just using the one stamp set. Just going to give this a bit of a clean, this stamp with a balloon, because it had Versamark on it, and if I didn't clean that Versamark off, your ink wouldn't actually take to it. Okay, so that's that. And then there's a couple of ways of stamping. You can either take your stamp to the ink pad, or your ink pad to the stamp. I like to do ink pad to the stamp when the stamp is large, and if the stamp is small, then I take the stamp to the ink pad. Okay, but I'm just going to go like that, there, and again, and I'm just stamping it in a few different areas. So I'm sort of going in sort of threes. Okay, then of course you need to clean that colour off before you go into your next colour. So you could start with your lighter colour and then you wouldn't have to worry about changing. So this will be slightly lighter now. I've changed it to the next colour. And I'm going to do more. So that's a slightly lighter colour of the same sort of tones. Oop. Oh well, that'll do. Just bring that off the edge so it looks a little slightly different. I'm going to do another one just on the corner down there. So it's just about making a background really, okay? And I may even go in with the fuchsia just to see if I can get any of that out. Although it's a very, very pale colour, this fuchsia. And really, really pale. So I need to get that ink off there. Marvellous. And then this. Because it's such a pale colour, I need to make sure, here we are, so it is going on. And you can see that lovely on the camera. So I'll put a bit up there. So I always try to do it in sort of threes just to get that little bit of colour around. I'm going to go in just there, just get the end of that in. So I just got the clouds in there. Okay. And then to bring out those colours, so split your stamp. So it's all about using the stamps to fulfill your card really. Using the same stamp to take an element from, like the balloon that I'm going to put on the front. Using the sentiment on there, and it's just a small panel, so you know it's not too bad. It's an A6 panel. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, where's that smoothie? Right, I've got my smoothie. So this was for the crushed velvet. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to go around on the corner. I'm going to leave a space and go around there, leave a space, leave a space. Notice I'm trying to keep away from that ink there as well when I'm doing that, and leave a space there. Okay, like that, so it doesn't get on your back of your card. Keep your card nice and clean then. So that's that one. And I'm going to go in with the palest one, which is the fuchsia. Change my smoothie out for the fuchsia one. And these plastic egg boxes are fantastic. I can't remember where I had this one. I know Donna's got one of these as well, I think. I think it's the same sort of one Donna's got. Can you remember where you had yours from, Donna? That's all I'm doing, is just taking a couple of colours that I've used to stamp and just blending them together basically on around the edge, which will just finish that edge off of the card, and that's lovely. Okay, so I didn't want to do the same colour card because obviously it would have been a bit boring seeing the same sort of card. cleaning our mat off. And again, if you have got a green mat, a green craft mat or glass mat, you can do this on the glass mat, but if you've got a mat like this, you can actually move that to the side when you go into do your card up, because now I know this mat is completely clean and I'm not going to get any marks on there. Okay, so that is now my base card. Now going to place, I'm going to change this up a bit more as well, because I'm going to actually put my matte mirror card on foam pads this time, where I kept it all flat in the last card. So I'm doing, just do that. I'm just taking the back off all my foam pads. And then Gavin's actually cutting my little, oh, he's cut my little balloon out, so he's a good one. It's right here for me. So I'm just going to get that nice and centered. Sorry if you got my head in there. Just going to straighten off a bit. Because this is on mirror card, I can't, if you use some glues or stuff like that, it just doesn't quite go quite well, and they can ooze out and they can cause problems and stuff like that. And I can hear Gavin shouting, "Who's phoning my phone?" Using Gavin's phone because it fits in that little holder really well, and my phone isn't as new as Gavin's, so it's a lot crisper image. That's all I'm doing. I'm just peeling off the back of the double-sided tape when it wants to work. Any of you have this problem? So what I tend to do, I rub the edge down like that and then use my nail and drag that across, and then it usually does bring it up with the back in. Yep, it's playing up today. Typical, live again. Of course, finger lift would have been okay as well. Finger lift is a double-sided tape where it's actually got the edge that you can grab. I may give up on this in a minute if it doesn't go. This is an old double-sided tape mount. Ah, there we are, so I've got it. Why does double-sided tape always play up when you don't want it to? Okay, so I tend to hover with my fingers and get my head out of the way, Ian, stop hitting the phone. And then that's going to go on there. Got to put a bit in the middle as well, but glad I didn't. Okay, so that's my balloon. And if I really wanted to, thank you Gavin for doing my balloon for me. And I am going to edge it as well, just to bring up that colour a bit, just to bring up the edge of the colour of the basket and the top bit. So I'm just using the sponge on the edge of my card. There we are. And then I'm going to put a little foam pad on the back of that. yeah, these would do okay. These would be a nice one for Mum's birthday card. Just a little bit of ink as well, and a nice blue card, and then that's that like that. You can use any stamps. So that is actually the first little card. Okay, so that was using embossing powders, Versamark, and things like that. So, and that's how you get that effect. And that's the two different ones in there. Okay, so I'm just going to clean that stamp while you're having a look at those, and then I'm going to get the second card out just to show you quickly that one, because the second card won't take long at all. Thank you, Gavin. It is a lovely card. I use tweezers. Use a Porky tool, Elizabeth, and Sarah uses tweezers. Thank you, Angela. Yes, I quite like it as well. It's nice as well because you can add the different layers if you wanted to. You could even do a piece with this on and mat and layer that onto the front. But literally, you know, it's a good little sort of thing to do, really. It's a nice little card as well. And you're just using some ink, so it's a cost-effective way to make some cards, and they can make them look so different as well. Alright, so that's that. So that's that one, and that's that one, and that was using the stamp set, the old Sheena stamp set with a balloon and a sentiment. Okay, and that was that one. That's a little bit sketchy stamp, Beautiful Destination. So all these rubber stamps, like I said, are all on our website at the moment. So I'm going to pop everything in there because I've done with that one. So just a lovely card, and one of these will be coming out to one of the customers that is doing. Right, you use a Porky tool as well, Judith, to get it all off. Yeah, the blue one is really nice for a man, because we always struggle with men's cards, so it is a nice way of doing that. So this is the one I wanted to show you now. So this is a very, very quick card, and it again uses quite a bit of ink, and I show you how to use a piece of your base card to actually do your butterfly as well. Okay, so the first thing I've done is I've got a card base, and I'm going to show you step by step. I've got a card base which is half fold A4. I've then got a black mat, which I'm just going to use my all-purpose Collall, and this black mat is 14.5 centimeters wide by 20.5 centimeters tall, which gives you then that nice little white border around the edge. And then I've also got a piece of white card, which I'm going to do this lovely background on here. Okay, and this is our 300 gram super smooth. Now normally I say don't put water on it, okay, but I'm going to, and I'll explain why now. With our 300 gram super smooth, or any of our super smooth, you can't really, I'm going to use the same colours as well, I think. So I'm mixing my inks as well, so I'm using a lemon tonic water reactive dye, which tends to go really well on watercolour card. I'm also going to use I think I use the fuchsia, which is a Harmony opaque pigment ink pad, which means it stays wetter for longer. And then I'm also going to use, yes, another water reactive dye. But if I wanted to add more greens into that instead of the blues, I could actually take a completely different ink. Doesn't matter. Could even put one of them in if I wanted to. So don't worry about mixing your inks as long as you're not using a yeah, I'll use the green instead of the blue this time. As long as you're not using a permanent ink pad like StazOn or stuff like that, because you won't get it off your foam pads and your blending pads or your blending brushes or stuff like that, because it is a permanent. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got starting with my light colour, and I'm going in spots of 3. Okay, before I do it on my green mats and I can't get it all off, and then it's all on the back of my card. Bring my blending mat back in, so that's why I like the A3 one. Gives you plenty of space. Picking up some yellow, and I'm going down on my mat, and then going to go in, because I can pick up the yellow from my mat as well. I'm just going to blend that out until it goes very, very pale. So I'm just going from that corner. Oops. And don't worry if you bend your card at this point, because it doesn't really matter with what we're doing on this. So that's one area. I'm going to do a little bit in this bottom bit here. So I'm not going to put a lot in this bottom bit. So we want to get some more colours in. That's number 2. So like I said, I like to work in 3 areas. Picking up some ink from... Okay, and 3. I'll bring that in a little bit more, and I'll explain why in a minute when we come to doing our butterfly. Okay, so now I've got 3 there, so that's my yellow. I'm going to go in with the pink, because I know the pink is a very pale colour. Get some ink on my smoothie. I'm just bringing it down and around that area there. That's one area, and notice I'm just come down a little bit there. I'm going to come next to this yellow bit here. I'm not worried about getting too much on at the moment, because you just build this up. The pink is so pale. You have to work on it. Okay, and then I'm going to go in this corner here. I want to go in the centre there. And this is it, you can go anywhere you want really. Okay, just going to go along that bit there. Notice I'm not worrying about edges, anything like that at the moment, although you don't get really harsh ones with these smoothies. So I've done the pink one, and I'm going to go into my green one. So I've changed the colours a bit. I'm gone blue, I've gone green with this one. And I'm going to put my green on. I'm going to fill in the areas with green. So I'm just doing that. Okay, so that's that. And then going in the middle, tap off excess. Go in the middle, tap off excess, go into the middle, because you don't want to go in and have a blob. So just move it along on your mat first, and then do that. Okay, so I think we can go a bit darker on the edges. Right. Okay, and in fact, I don't want to blend that anymore. I think that's absolutely fine. So once you're happy with it, just be happy with it. You know, it doesn't have to be dark, doesn't have to be light. It is all down to you at the end of the day. So I'm going to keep these inks out because I'm going to be using them again. But this is my background bit. And now I'm going to take my big bottle of water. And Julia Watts does this thing, and she calls it the Happy Clappy. Sorry about the clappy, but I'm happy. And you just get different water droplets all over it. Okay, and you just leave that on for about 10 seconds so it can pick up the ink, and then it'll absorb the ink. Okay, and then you dab it with a kitchen towel or tea towel or whatever you've got, and then because this is the 300 gram super smooth, I'm actually going to dry that now so that my spots are going to dry out so it doesn't bubble the card, and that's the difference. That is the only difference between our 300 gram. You can't watercolour on our 300 gram card, but you can splash a bit of colour on and do it that way. And you can actually see, if you can see that, but there's lots of little spots on there, which is just a nice little and just wiggling it a bit as I'm drying it so that you can see that, so you can see the little dots. Okay, and that's there. Oh dear, bless me. Love black borders, makes it pop. It does, Annie, yes. Love the colours you have used for the butterfly card. Oh, thank you, Judith. Lovely card. I get tape packages away. Yeah, caught up with that one. Yeah, trying to keep up with the comments you're making as well. So if I go a little bit quiet or start reading, you know why. Okay, so I've now got that, and I'm going to leave that there while I take my VersaFine. And because I'm actually going to use some butterflies, and I'm using the rubber stamps. Remember I said about having, so there's butterfly that faces that way, a half butterfly, there's a half butterfly that faces that way, there's a half butterfly that faces that way that's got no pattern, and then you've got a little sentiment that says, I'm all aflutter for you, and then it's got a nice big butterfly like that. Okay, so I'm going to be using these two first, and I'm double-sided tape on there, and I'm just going to use it like that. Okay, just because I want to be pretty quick at inking up, and if this is on a rubber mat thing I wouldn't be able to see it, the shape of the stamp. So I'm just stamping that, and I'm just coming in and inking that, and again because it's a slightly small stamp I can take the, and I'm turning the stamp as I'm going down, again different element, different parts of the butterfly, and because this is a that facing one along the top here, I'm going to have it just coming in just a little bit with the body there. Okay, and I finished with that stamp. Okay, could have taken this to my stamp cleaner thing again, but I'm just going to use that one, and I'm just going to put that on there as well. So this is the other side facing stamp now, and again it's slightly smaller stamp than the last one, so I'm just going to take it straight to the ink pad, and that's the direction it's going. So I'm going to go in the corner there, you're going to turn it so that it's going in different directions, so you get a nice sort of feel for the flow of the butterfly. And then on our bottom bit here, then I'm going to have the butterfly going across the bottom like that, and there we are. So that is now the background bit. I'm just going to close that window while I spritz my stamp. So just make sure you don't get any water into your ink pads at all when you're cleaning and spraying and stuff like that. So you want to keep your ink pads nice and clean. Okay, so that's that bit, and I'm going to move that from there. And that was a VersaFine, but because I'm not actually colouring with anything in this one, I could have used Diron Dark, I could have used the Harmony Opaque. I could have used a dye-based, any dye-based ones at all, okay? The reason I've moved that mat now is because I want to stamp my large one and I know I'm not going to go off the side. There we are. Okay, so I've got my large stamp now, and because that's slightly larger, I'm actually going to stamp that there. And I'm actually going to stamp that in the centre of that. Okay, so I've got that. And then I'm going to take a craft knife and I'm just going to, so this is a good thing with these mats, I'm just going to cut that butterfly out from there. And I may ask my lovely assistant to come and cut this out for me as well, if that's okay, Gavin. Okay, so I've taken it out of there, basically taken it out to the centre of that. So don't worry about the swirls. Okay, just take it to the points and don't worry about the head bit there. Okay, so I've now got this piece, and this piece is going to fit onto the front of my card, which I already done. Make sure it's open in the correct way so you don't get an Australian card. Although that would be okay for you, Angela, because you've got Australian relatives. So it can open back to front. Okay, so I'm just using all purpose. I'm going to stick that on there. Nice little border. And this is why I like black borders, because when you look at that, it really does make it pop. And the only difference between that is there's no blue in this one where it is in the other one. Okay, clean my stamp again because I've finished with, oh no I haven't, nope, no I haven't. Just get a wipe from the water. Right, so I've stamped the butterfly on the centre bit there, and Gavin's got that now, so he's doing that for me down there. Okay, I'm going to bring in my blending mat again. Just put it the other way a minute. Okay, and all I'm going to do now is take the smoothies that I used, and you should have plenty of colour on that. So we loaded it up enough for the last bit you've done. That should have plenty of colour on it. So there's my yellow. The only one that might be a bit pale is the pink, but that's fine as well. Wicked. I'm just adding a little bit of pink around the edges there as well, and down in that corner there. Okay, so that's the pink, and then the green. So I'll take my green smoothie, and there should be plenty of green on it as well. If there wasn't, you just tap it on the ink pad and on the mat first before you go any further. And that's all that does, it just adds a little border around that piece there. Just adds a nice little sort of vignette, sort of, not a vinaigrette, a vignette sort of thing. Okay, so that's that. I'll put that down there. Now I can take this butterfly again, okay, and I can also take the sentiment as well. So what I'm going to do the sentiment first. Okay, as you can see it's sticky, so it does pick up the magnet. I'm going to do my sentiment. I'm going to do my sentiment at the bottom there. The sentiment I used was, don't call it a dream, call it a plan. So that one was from just because your path is different doesn't mean you're lost, and don't call it a dream, call it a plan. So I'm just going to do that, and I've just cut around mine, allowing just a little bit of room around there. I've made sure the bottom is straight. Thank you, Gavin. Okay, and so I'm printing this, stamping this upside down now because I want it to be there. Okay, so I'm just laying in that bottom bit there. Okay, I'll lift that up. Take my VersaFine, because I'm not actually, just twisting it a little bit just to fill all the little gaps in the stamp. And this is a broken stamp as well, so it's got little areas that are not. I've just removed the ink from the edge of the stamp, the rubber there, so it doesn't transfer. And then when I lift it over, then you get that. And what I mean by it's a broken stamp is it's got little areas that's not actually got any stamp area there, so it's the dream is a bit broken up. Okay, so that's that bit, and then I'm going to remove that. So has anybody got any little questions that you'd have to ask, that you'd want to ask? Because while I'm working on this, then you can ask me the little question if you want. I'm just going to put my butterfly on there like that. I'm going to put my magnets on there so it doesn't move. Pick that up. I'm going to stamp that butterfly. So this weather was terrible last night, wasn't it? The wind was howling last night. So there we are. So there's my lovely butterfly there as well. So even though I'm sprayed this stamp on here and I'm rubbing it with my mat, it's actually cleaning this as well. So you might think it's losing its tackiness from the transfer tape, but it's actually not, because it's still there, look. Okay, so it is a really good technique to get that in there. Lift that out. Here's my panel. Take my stamp out there. Okay. And then if you ever do one of these little mats, just make sure it's the shiny side of the paper, the really shiny side that you put back on there, and on the shiny side of that, make sure that goes on the back of that as well. And then you know then it's not going to stick to the paper. Okay, so now I've got to come to finishing this. So the reason I stamped in there is because it's going to be covered anyway, and that's why I took the butterfly from out of there. Okay, so that is that. This is all purpose. I love all purpose, but if you've got some people with breathing difficulties, asthma and stuff like that, tend to not be able to use it if they've only got a small room for the craft room, or they've got to open their window when they're in their craft room because it is alcohol based. Okay. And then, so I've fitted the black mat there, which is hiding the hole I actually cut out with the butterfly on. And actually stamped the butterfly again on this other little panel. So these panels as well, the white panel is 10.5 by 15, and then the black smaller panel is 11 by 15.5, and then I've got a butterfly here. So what I do, I put my nail to the side of the body and just lift that up so the body side of the butterfly stays flat. So just lift them up like that, so you can see then I've got an area to stick on the body, and then I just roll that around them. So I could actually put 3D glue gel on the back of these wings so that when they go in the post they don't flatten at all. Okay, but that's that. And then I'm actually going to use my Hi-Tac original for the body bit, because I know this is super sticky, and I've just put it on the body part. I'm going to place the body part literally on the stamped image below, just using the end of a brush. Use tweezers, whatever you want, just to stamp that, to push that down so it's there. And then there's my little butterfly. So that is the second card. One with blues in and one with greens. And the reason there's a little bit of green in there is because the blue and the yellow mixed as I was doing that. And then I could add gems, I could sparkle up the butterfly by adding a bit of glitter or a bit of sparkle pen, but the colours will move when you use that. Blowing the right gale up here, and can I use those lovely soft brushes you sell to put inks on instead of your eggs? Are you on about the bendy brushes, Annie? The middle panel, Sarah, was 10.5. The white was 10.5 by 15, and the black was 11 by 15.5. Yeah, you can use them. You probably could go direct instead of tapping it on your mat after picking up the ink. You can go direct. You might find it'll take a little bit longer to build up because it only takes ink on the surface of the bristles. So, but you can do it, and you can do it then. You can build it up as much as you want. But yeah, you can do that as well. So those brushes are lovely. Okay, so you can use them, Annie. They're both the colourways that you have used. Thank you, Judith. That's lovely. Angela, yeah, they are very nice. And I'm afraid I can't throw any little bits of black card out. Even I've got a little box that's full of black pieces, because I just can't. Goes against my grain. I really can't just throw out black card unless it's the tiniest little piece. Okay, so that was that one. And what's the time? That's the sentiment connected there. So again, I only used 2 sets of stamps on that one, I think. Yes, I only used 2 sets of stamps on that one, and that was that one, the Different Dream, and the butterfly ones. And again, you may not have some of the butterfly stamps, so they are other ones, but you may have other butterfly stamps, and you just pick what you want. You can use any of them at all. You know, you change it. It might be flowers you want, and put a flower in the middle, put a different sentiment, you know, change the colours, use 2 colours instead of 3. You know, it's all down to you really. It's down to personal choice. Okay, so that was that one. And I'm going to check on the time then. If we got time, I'll show you the third one I did, because that's quite a quick one as well. Okay, so what's the time? Let's have a look. So it's 3:13. So I've been going an hour and 13 minutes. Right, yeah, let's do the last one because it's pretty quick, that one. Okay, so this is the last one. The rubber mat that you use to stick the stamp to, do you sell them? Oh, lovely. I'm glad you can have a go, Mum. But they are lovely, lovely cards, and they're very easy to do. So nice and quick, nice and easy. So this one, again, is a nice, quick, easy one. Are you talking about the rubber bits that I use like that with the 2 sticky sort of sides? Sarah, is that what you're on about? It's called mounting cushion or mounting foam, and basically it's for sticking to the back of your rubber stamps. And normally you just stick your stamps on there and then you cut around it while it's on the stamp, but I tend to use transfer tape on the sticky side and then just use the cling side of it to put my stamps on, because then I can just use one piece like that in my mat all the time instead of having a full sheet of this stuck to all my stamps. But both ways are just as good. Right, so the stamps I'm using is going to be the solid one, which is a Colorista one. The flowers I'm going to use there are also a Colorista one, and there's quite a few little ones in here, but I'm actually going to use that big one. So they're sort of, what do they call it? Mandala sort of style things. And then from the cupcake ones, I'm going to use the 2 sentiments. But again, I could put cupcakes on top of the sentiment, or I could put the tea cakes on top of the sentiment, or the balloons. So, you know, it's using the stamps you want to use. Okay. So the first thing I want to do here is take my press to impress. Again, I'm going to remove my rubber from inside it. And I'm going to take my big stamp, okay? And I'm going to place my big stamp in that corner there. And I'm going to put my bigger piece that I have here. So the cling side, just inside the box, which is on your surface of your screen. And then because I put transfer tape on there, I've actually got a lined square area, like a checkered area. So I know then that's the transfer tape area. I'm just going to bring that over and lift that up. Okay. So then you need a piece of card that's going to be, so a bit of white card, which is 9.5 by 14, or you can do it 10 by 14, it doesn't matter, it's down to you. So I'm going to do 10 by 14. I'm going to cut my 14 that way. And my 10 that way. I'm also going to cut a strip off there, which I know is 3 centimeters. And if you've got any of these trimmers, they've got sizes to the right. So that's 2.5. So a piece of white, 2.5. So that's 2.5 by 14. Okay, so that's going to be for the sentiment piece. I need some black. Which needs to be 3 centimeters. So I'm just going to put that to 3 centimeters wide. It doesn't matter how long it is because I'm going to be cutting it down after it goes on the card. But that's just so it's, so the white is 2.5, the black is 3. So that's that bit. And then I also need another piece of black, which is, sorry, that is 10 by 14.5. 10 by 14.5. 10 that way. 14.5. And this is a really, really quick card. So, this will be lovely. Okay. So I'll get rid of all this little bits of waste out of my way. That's out of my way. And now I've got my little pieces here. Right, okay. Let's get going now. So on the white piece, I need to take my press to impress with my, I was thinking that all these designs lend themselves to using my new rectangular dies I got from you. Yes, they would. They would work with your rectangular dies, Annie. They'd be absolutely lovely, actually. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this, okay, I'm going to take that. I'm going to make sure that that covers the card. Right, okay. Okay, that's fine. Right, so that's lifted that up. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use a little bit of course I know my magnets will get in the way. That's a good thing with these press to impresses as well. If you think the magnet's going to get in the way, use a little bit of tape just on the very edge, and then you can remove that later. Okay, so it's not going to get in my way now. I think on the first card I actually took a larger piece of card, so, and then stamped it on there first. Yeah. So as you can see, that keeps dropping off, so I'm going to make sure I push that down because I haven't pushed it down yet. There we are. I'm taking my VersaFine. So again, you could use your dye-based inks. Doesn't matter. It's all about. I'm going to take that over and I'm going to stamp that there. I lift that over. And then I'm going to go again because I don't think it's enough. It doesn't quite pick up there. So I'm just going to, so because it's a big stamp, the cushion that you use, this cushion piece that's underneath the stamp, actually gives you a little bit of leeway with everything, because it actually does make you a bit, can't put too much pressure on it. That's what I was going to say, because the cushion makes flexes with everything. So that's that done. I'm just going to spritz that stamp with water and give it a good clean. So the state this is looking, it'll probably need a clean with the next lot of darks that I do. I got about 6 of them, so these tea towels. There we are, so that's come off. I can then take that off there because it clings, and then I can put the covers back on there. Okay, so again, making sure that the shiny side goes down and the shiny side of that goes down as well, and then that will keep it safe. Okay, so that is that. That's that piece. And card base. Then need a card base. Which, don't lose my magnet. So just for quick and ease, I usually use a Crafter's Companion scoreboard, which is centimeters on one side and inches on the other, and I usually use it on the centimeter side, put it all the way to the left and score it at 15. So that's what I usually do. So that is that bit. Going to take a slight trim off there. Stamp didn't go to the edge, which is fine. Take a little bit of that end. So this is it. You can still cut it down because it doesn't matter. A little bit. You just get a bigger border with the black, that's all. So just make sure that's nice on there. Looks nice on there, doesn't it? There we are. So foam pads. On the back of the black. Yeah, it's a lovely stamp. The large stamp is beautiful. it's sort of a mandala style stamp. When Colorista pencils and alcohol pens came out, and I did the classes, I think it was 12 or 13 classes I did, that was part of the set of everything. So I'm just going to put that there and that there. There's my foam pads. Again, just take all the backing off them. And the good thing with these foam pads is it's got a little overlap of the coating, so you can just grab it and pull it off. Okay, so that is going to go in that corner there, so. And then on this piece here, I'm going to change up a bit. I'm going to put it on my acrylic block, which I put a little bit of double-sided tape. And because I've got the black there, I'm changing it around a bit, so I'm just showing if you do make a mistake, haha, then it sways around it. Okay, so I could have stamped this first, and then this mandala stamp would have gone behind that panel, but I'm not worried because it'll still match the system. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting the flower there because I want it to line up with this sort of flower here. Right, that's that. So I'm just going to pop that down like that. So that's one. And I'm going to just go off the page a bit there. So I'm just going to go off there. Okay. And I should have brought my mat in. Oh, that there I didn't go over too far anyway. So that's lovely. So that is stamped there. Okay. And then down to colouring. So that's all I done was take one colour. So I had a GG4, and I used pink on this one, which was a BP1, but I'm actually going to change the colour, make it a different card, and I'm actually going to add in do red, I think. So I'm going to add DR3. Okay, so, and that's all I've done. I chose the areas I wanted to colour. So DR3, just going to do the leaves. So again, you can use your tri-blend pens. Literally, that's all I'm doing is straightforward colouring. There's no blending, no nothing. It's just nice. You could do the blending though. So I'm just going to quickly do that. What else do I do? So centre bits there. Normally when you colour as well, always put a bit of paper, scrap paper underneath it because it will go through. Okay, so I've done that leaf. I'm going to do that leaf as well. And then that leaf under there is part of the same thing. And that bit there. Okay, so that's that. So you just pick elements out that you want to colour, okay? There, the centre bit, a bit there, there. So you can completely do loads of these cars and just change the colour on each one of them. So you can do all your stamping in one, so you're not setting up your stamps on numerous occasions. So, you know, you can add a gem in the middle of that flower I'm colouring now. So again, like I said, I'm only doing one colour here. Okay, so I'm just straightforward colouring, doing dots, picking certain areas so it can be spread apart. Okay, so you know, you choose what you want to do. I'm not going to colour it all just to show you, but that's that bit. So you just choose what you want to do, and then what I did with the dark grey was any of the parts that's got little lines in like this, like a little shading line, I just went in and just did that in there. I think I picked up a slightly lighter colour this time, but that's fine, I don't mind that. Each card will be different if you use a slightly different colour, so you can just colour that in. Okay. So you could completely colour this in and make it a full colouring project. In fact, for peace of mind with everything that's going on at the moment, you just want to chill out night, just stamp this big stamp, sit down with your pens, colour each individual little area with your watercolours, your fine lines, you know, you can use anything you want, use your pencils, just stamp it on the appropriate card for whatever you're colouring. So you just carry on doing that, and you end up doing your sort of areas. So as you can see, I've done all the bits with the lines in, and I've just chosen a few little areas in the black, and then the same on this piece here, going across here. Okay, so I'll just do a bit of this one just to show you where I put the sentiment on. So I've just done that and that. So it's quick colouring. Don't have to be too fussy with it. But I did overlap the stamps on this one. Here, didn't have to. Could just had it coming off the side. So I don't know if any of you follow Phil Martin as well. It's Sentimentally Yours with his lives. He was going to be on today at 11 o'clock, but he's now going to be on tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Basically, he couldn't connect to Facebook. It just wasn't connecting for him. So I wondered if we would have the same problem today. Lucky enough we didn't. And this one, I'm just taking the inner petal there with that one, and then colouring the whole petal on that one around the leaf. So the leaf stays white in the middle, and you just do that. Okay. So you can colour pretty quickly with these. And just do that bit so I can put the sentiment over the top of it. Stick my panel on, and then you can see how different that looks then with the different colours. So again, the tri-blend pens, you end up with 3 colours within a pen. So with a tri-blend you could actually take the 3 colours and colour different areas with the 3 colours. So you've got the 3 sort of blends of the one colour within this stamp, and then you can just add different tones of greys and stuff like that. You can add your gel pens into them, your metallic pens, colour them, just have fun really. And it's very relaxing as well. Normally take a lot longer to colour these, but it is pretty quick. Got quite a steady hand. You know that he came from the gardening yesterday. Okay, so that's that bit, look. Okay, so I will finish colouring that but I will stick it on now. Phil is on at 1 PM tomorrow for his late live. Ah, right, he's on at 1 tomorrow, is he, Judith? Thought he was going to do it at 11 again, but... Ooh, fancy doing it at lunchtime. Ooh. Have to have an early lunch, wouldn't you, Judith? No, you don't have to colour it all at all. I'm a firm believer that if you don't have to, why bother? Why colour it all? It does, having lots of white on your card actually does brighten the card and lighten it up a bit. I'm actually going to just stick this bit of black along the top. We do like a bit of film art in stamps though, and dies and stuff like that. So I'll just put that black on there. Turn my card over, use the scissors and use the end of your card to cut that off, so you know now that's in the proper place. I think Phil's a lot more cleaner than I am. It takes me a while to clean up after I've finished my lives. Especially when I'm doing more than sort of one card, because I like to show different sort of things. And Phil goes into more in-depth detail and does a lot more in one go. So I'm now going to use this stamp. I'm going to put birthday right on the edge of that, so I know it's square. Ink it up reverse fine, so it's a small stamp, so I'm going directly to the ink. That's nice and inked up. It's your birthday. Let's get in the centre there. It's your birthday. I can clean these stamps a bit later. Time to party. So just make sure the party is straight there. That's that. Again, another small stamp. Time to party. Time to party. And there we are. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slide under there. Get some glue on. Here's fine, does take a little bit of time to dry properly, so that's why I'm being careful not to touch it and smudge it. Just cutting the back of that white off. And you know, in true Phil Martin style, you could put a proper flower in the middle of this one, but that is basically the two cards there. Leave them like that. So again, I used 3 sets of stamps there, but I only used elements from both. I used the full stamp there, which is the Colorista Background 1, and I used the Colorista Spectrum Elements 3 there, and just used that one big flower here. And then I did use the party time one then for the 2 sentiments. It says, it's your birthday, time to party. Yeah, it is good that we've all got lots of time, Annie. Loads of good ideas, good job. We've all got lots of time to play around and experiment. So, have any of you got any questions before we leave? Because that is the 3 cards we've done. So I'll try and line them up so we can see them all. Just lift some of these things up. So we have got, move my verse back over, put that over there. So we got that one. We had that one and that one, which are just a slight different colour. And then we had the pink one there, which is there, and then the blue one there. Thank you, Gaynor. They do look really dramatic, especially the ones that's got the black on. Because black really makes it pop, and these are just quite subtle, muted, got that little bit of bling because of the mirror card. No problem, Gaynor. Glad you would like them. So any questions? Thank you, Annie. Bravo. So, don't forget we are in the shop again on Monday, because that's the only day we go in, and that's from 10 till 12. Thank you, Gavin. I think they're fabulous as well. They are lovely. Especially my favourites out of them has got to be the butterfly one, though. I really do like that butterfly one. That's my favourite out of them all. Thank you, Caroline. We're going to be cutting one of the Gemini things on Sunday to see if they fit, and then if they do, then we'll let you know about that, Caroline, okay? We might have to make a few adjustments. I'm inspired by the butterfly one, cutting it out of the middle. Yeah, it just means you're not using another bit of card by cutting out in the middle. Thank you, Dawn. They are lovely cards. So don't forget, we are in the shop. We are waiting for Clarity to come in for those who are waiting for groovy kits and stuff like that. Thank you, Alison. They are lovely techniques, and they're quite simple techniques as well. So, yep. Thank you very much, all of you. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and don't forget, whatever's in the shop and whatever comes in will go straight to our website, so you can find all the new stuff there. Don't forget, all these rubber stamps are actually on at half price, so they're either going to be £2.50 or £3 for the set. Okay, so thank you very much once again. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. So I'm going to say bye now. Bye.